Broadway Interludes, presented by Art Lab. I'm your host, Megan Chocolates, and today I'm joined by Broadway's rock star, Ace Young.
They were cheering for you.
Oh, so loud.
There's a lot of them. How
of course.
I'm fantastic.
Good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm so excited to be here.
Thanks for coming.
Anytime that I can be with you guys, I am in. It's been a pleasure working through all the projects we've gotten to do, and I'm excited for what we get to do next.
Ace is such a good friend of Art Lab, and he's a good friend of mine. We met this past March during a production of A Closer Walk with Patsy Cline. Ace, can you tell us about that experience?
Most definitely. My wife and I met doing a Broadway show. So she is also a singer. And if you didn't know, now you know. If you don't know, now you know. She is a huge fan of Patsy Cline. And Patsy was actually the reason why she sings. So her name is Diana DeGarmo. Mine is Jackie Wilson. Jackie Wilson is the reason I decided to try. And Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 is who I emulated. We'll go into that later. But Patsy was the reason Diana even started singing. So she used to be 5, 6 years old, and she'd be in the car with her mom. And if there was ever traffic, she'd be that little kid that would stick her head out the window and say, "Would you like to hear a song? Crazy, I'm crazy for feeling." And she just went. And everybody was like, "She's already singing. This is amazing." So she sings because of Patsy. I had the pleasure to see her do the other Patsy Cline musical pre-COVID in St. Louis. And it was incredible to see her emulate the first inspiration, but also find her own little niche that was Diana as well. So when we found out that there was another Patsy show that I didn't have to play a woman in, because that one has a woman, that I got to be a little big man radio host, we were ecstatic. And I was so excited to be able to have the best seat in the world, watching my wife literally like sink her energy into the world and show us Patsy Cline. I truthfully couldn't have had a better place to be watching this happen, and also see my best friend, I get choked up. But also to see my best friend come full circle. You know, you don't get that. So I got to see her do her dream and have it all come full circle. And it obviously hits me emotionally, and I love her very much. So it was life-changing, to be perfectly honest. So the answer is, how was it? It changed my life. And I am so excited to do everything and the next thing with Art Lab. I mean, you guys could literally be like, we're going to Times Square, and I'll be like, is it raining? I'll get my soap. Like, I don't know what we're doing, but I'll be prepared.
Ace, that is so special. I mean, it must be amazing getting to work with your partner in that way, because you both did a different Art Lab production virtually.
Yes.
First date.
Yes.
So how was that?
There were a lot of things that we had never dealt with. Doing a green screen digital production with other people on their green screen, zooming scenes live, capturing ourselves, 3 different cameras you start, 2 different mics you start, and then you're ready to go. But we also had foster dogs. And these foster dogs were adorable. When COVID started, we had just lost our dog of 17 years. Diana had a little wiener dog named Rosie. So when Rosie passed, she was with me doing Rock of Ages in St. Louis. No, in Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh. St. Louis is on my brain because Diana. So I was in Pittsburgh CLO playing Stacy Jacks, wearing next to nothing, having a ball. And I had Rosie with me, and Rosie passed at the age of 17 while I was on stage. And I got to drive her home and create a circle drive at my house and put Rose Garden in the circle drive. And it's Rosie. So back to the question before I make everybody cry at home. Stop crying, Ace. Back to the question. We had started fostering dogs when COVID hit because we missed our Rosie. And we had a house that was too quiet. And so we started working with Tennessee Dachshund Rescue and took one dog. And we were like, well, we'll see if this dog gets a home. And the dog was not liking our species when we first got it. So I got to let my inner animal out, and I got to actually be a dog. I was like, here's how you choose sticks. Here's how we pee in the yard. Here's how you trust people. Food's good, and it can come from my hand without you biting me. And we literally built the trust back with this dog. And it was an elderly dog. It was almost 11 years old, losing teeth, and not really the type of dog when you're a kid, you go, Mom, I want that one. You know, it wasn't the typical Christmas story movie. but we found the love within the dog, and it shined, and it found the perfect home. So we continued to accept dogs during COVID time. We ended up having 19 dogs live with us that we found forever homes. We call it forever because they're furry. Forever. We found forever homes for, and every time I would give the dog away, I would cry because I love it.
Of course.
And now it loves me. And then I would get in the car and we'd start driving, and about 10 minutes later, we'd and wipe the tears off and say, well, let's go see what dogs need help now. And we'd pick up another dog and go home. And during first date, we had two things that happened. One was I cleared out the whole lower level of my house for this green screen that we had sent to us by Art Lab. And we were so excited because I build stuff and break stuff, and I'd done custom remodels since I was a kid. My brothers are that type of person, so I do everything. And so we moved all the furniture out of the bottom story of our house. And then we're setting up the green screen, and I'm going to lift it up, and it was just about 3 inches off from standing up. So I couldn't put it in that room.
Right.
So then I took our living room and our dining room, and I moved it downstairs into that space, and we made a green screen 3D area in our upstairs living room that the foster dogs were very happy about because they weren't eavesdropping at the top of the stairs just looking at us. And we found out really quick that we had to give them a viewing portal with the couch looking outside and at us. Otherwise, they're coming into the green screen area during a Zoom take with somebody else in their apartment in New York, or they're barking at somebody that's not even there.
Right.
So we had a lot of things that we were learning for the first time.
Sure.
But in the end, I got to learn a show that we were originally going to do a tour of. Diane and I were going to do a tour of First Date. We were going to do a national tour of it, and that it didn't line up. And so this was an amazing moment for us to learn a show that we could both do together and also bounce ideas off of each other, just enjoying the actual show that we've never done. And I got to play characters I never thought I'd play. So the songs in First Date were like a baptism for me as an actor because they had so much information in the songs. I got to divulge all of the story. So if it wasn't for Art Lab and it wasn't for First Date and the love of those little wiener dogs, then I wouldn't be as comfortable as I am doing the next project I'm doing now.
Amazing. So we've already touched base on a few of the roles you've played. Now, out of your whole career thus far, what has been your favorite role?
That's hard.
Yeah, that's why I ask.
That's not fair. You know that's not fair. Because as an actor, it's whatever you're working on.
Of course.
Because they're never you. So it's truthfully whatever you get to play and play make-believe and pays your bills. Like, it's just a dream to play make-believe and have a life at the same time.
Yeah.
To be able to afford the time off. But my personal life-changing role would have had to been Hair. Hair because I met my wife. And if I didn't do Hair and get to play Burger and take over for Will Swenson right here in New York City and meet the Sheila that is now on my neck, it wasn't her choice, it was mine. If I didn't do that show, I don't know where I'd be now. And it was also another show that was very controversial for what I grew up in. My uncle went to Vietnam, and he went through the things that we were fighting against, even going to in the first place in the show. So growing up, I had heard the opposite side. And I'm from Boulder, so I heard the hippie side from the people, but my family was talking about how awful it was going and serving, being forced to go, coming back and then getting spit on by the people that were here when they were having life changes of their own. Like he got permanently wounded, got a knife in the knee, can't feel down to his foot, has to walk with a cane ever since, and he was hoping that he'd at least get a hug when he got back, and he just had a lot of bad memories. And I remember when I started Hair, how exhilarating it was to fight for human choice. To have a choice of what we do with our life and not have to react. That was the thing about the whole story of Hair was, no, you don't own me. The naked scene wasn't us getting naked and showing our bodies off. And like, hey, did my Kegels. Like, it wasn't that. It was literally saying, no, this shirt doesn't own me. This brand doesn't own me. And you take it all off. And once you shed that skin, you stand and you ground yourself with nothing, completely bare. And you hold firm and you look out and you're almost statuesque. You're standing for the freedom of choice. It was so much greater than even what the songs were. And Let the Sunshine, when we did the show, almost was eerie. It hit a dark moment. It wasn't the radio version that made the show so popular. It was like minor chords. We had just lost my love interest and Diana's love interest. It's a love triangle between Claude, Berger, and Sheila. Right. And Claude died. Now, the crazy thing here is, in real life, Claude lived. Oh. But Claude didn't want to see his best friend Berger really die on stage because he really died. He really was drafted, and he went. And he didn't want to see that. So I got to meet James, who is Claude, and I literally with Rado, James Rado calmed me down and grounded me like no other thing I've ever done in my life. He would show up and he would hang out in the hippie hideout and he'd have his phone and he'd just be taking pictures of us. And he's totally in sight of everyone's scene, but it was his happy place. Yeah. So he was doing this, and we just lost James. I love him to death. We just lost him this year. And he was just such a beautiful spirit. And I remember at the end of the run, he was there once a week, every time. We were there for 6 months. And at the end of the run, he gave me a big hug. I'm gonna get choked up. You're gonna get another crying, Ace. And he gave me a big hug. And he said, hey, I just want you to know that the reason I'm here every week is the way you played Berger. He wasn't bi, he wasn't gay, it wasn't a sexual preference. He was athletic, he was strong, and whatever you were, he'd go, okay, and he'd go find it for you. His heart was that big. So for James to say that to me, and then say the reason I came every week was because I saw my best friend on stage for the first time in years, I was done. Right? And I literally, from that point on, I said, brother, whenever you need me, you text me. And there was a genuineness of my athleticism in the way I played him and my love that I really have in Berger. And I genuinely fell in love with my best friend, but it wasn't physical. It wasn't sexual. We were just best friends taking over the world, like fighting for something. And a year later, we started dating. A year after that, I proposed live on TV in front of 21 million people so that she wouldn't know it was coming because she thought it was work. And I figured, well, if she says no, I'm going to go off the deep end. You're never going to see me again, and I'm just going to go fucking berserk because this is all I want in the whole entire universe. But if she says yes, I won the lottery. I've got my buddy. I've got my life buddy that I can be the biggest fan of in their career, and they can be the biggest fan in mine. Woo!
I'm getting emotional.
Told ya! Woo! Ace Young, crybaby. No, it was literally a life change, and it was phenomenal. And I remember I had just finished our Joseph tour in Denver, in the theater that I saw my very first musical ever. When I was 13, I saw Phantom there, and it's the reason why I do Broadway. It's the reason why I had the itch, and I was like, whoa, that was a live movie. And they could breathe and dance and move. What the heck are these guys doing? They're animals. I want to do that. And I got to finish our tour in that theater. My parents got to see the show in the place where they took me to my first show. And after all of it, I walked out of the theater. The next day was our day off. Happened to be a big hair date. It was something that happens every day, 420. And from behind, I saw the back of a guy in downtown Denver on the 16th Street Mall. And I literally, from behind, 2 blocks away, went, Rado! And I saw this gentleman go and turn around. Berger! And Sheila! It was unbelievable. The fact that years had gone by and he heard me say one word and he turned around and knew exactly who it was. And he came up and was like, Ace, I miss you, man. We're all going to jump in a hot tub in Boulder where you were born. Like, come hang out. Like, eat, hang, drink, whatever the hell you want to do. It created real things and real people from a fictitious world that I got to play make-believe in. Everything finally landed. And then I had my wife on top of it. So I would say hair was my breakthrough.
That is so special. Every story is special with you, Ace.
I'm truly in the moment. So even this moment will be special. But I didn't do a COVID test before I got in here. But I did this week for my rehearsals of what I'm currently working on because you're my COVID manager of the last show I worked on with you.
Proud of you.
Trying to do well. What was the first song you ever sang? Because I know you sing and act as well.
I do. Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Ooh, did you do the intro or did you just start right on the chorus?
The whole intro. I was in 5th grade, and Mrs. Mercer, my music teacher, said, Megan, there's this solo and ensemble competition coming up, and you're Judy. You're Judy. You have to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And I was so nervous, but I did it.
Megan?
Yes.
Can you sing a little bit of Somewhere Over the Rainbow?
No, I can't. No, this is about you. This is about you.
But this is to tell me that I'm inspired to tell you the story that you have to hear.
Wait.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm so
You got
nervous.
this.
I wasn't
Did I
prepared
make
to
you
sing.
nervous?
You did, Ace.
You can edit this out. Literally, like, you don't have to watch any of this.
Wait, what key do I want to do? Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high.
Just keep going.
There's a floodlet that I heard of once in a lullaby.
One more.
Somewhere over the rainbow. I'm so nervous, I can't.
Oh, you're doing so good.
The skies are blue.
And a land.
And a land that I dare to dream really will come true.
Good job. All right, now you have to get my story.
Okay.
So I started singing.
Okay.
And I started copying people. That's how I learned my voice.
Right.
But I was very lucky. I thought everyone in the world wrote their own music and played their own instruments because why wouldn't they? They're singing it. How could they possibly do a show if they're walking out on their own and there's no one with them?
Right.
Obviously, they have to be the writer. I learned later that I can write and not have to sing the song every time. Done it a lot. I love it. It pays me well. And I emulated Jackson 5. But my parents were opera singers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So both of them were like blowing the walls off, like the paint off the walls in the house when they were just fiddling, just touching some notes.
Yeah.
And I literally had no idea how singers did certain things, like vibrato. Put that, like, definition of vibrato right here. Vibrato. That shaky thing that's supposed to sound natural when you let your voice do its waver. When you have the age to do it.
Right.
I was 11 years old, and I heard Ben. You know Ben? Have you ever heard that song? Do you know Jackson 5 songs? Am I dating myself? Am
No, I know some. I know some of them. I know them if I hear them.
A, B, C, easy as 1, 2, 3, right? So I took that song, the chorus, and I wrote my own verses, and I've got $30 for 30 minutes performing it in the food courts at the mall in Boulder when I was 9 years old.
That's so cute.
My parents carried the speakers and set them up, and I did my set. But I didn't know vibrato. And I got this call when I was 11 from the high school I was going to go to that 2 of my brothers were in at the time. And they said, hey, you're really doing well. Would you like to do a little Q&A with our high schoolers at the library? And I was like, made me nervous, like quivery lip. Let me go to the bathroom first. What the heck am I going to do with myself? And I did this thing. I walked in and I didn't know vibrato. I didn't know how to do it. And I had to sing Ben. This is what Little Ace did. Ben, the 2 of us need look no more. We both found what we were looking for. I literally stomped my feet. It'll sound like this. You're just going to see crotch. Sorry. For if you have a place to hide. Like
and you thought that was it.
I thought everybody was shaking their feet because the shot was always up high. I was like, of course.
You don't know what's happening down here.
I figured out vibrato. They're all just stomping their feet.
That's it.
But I just wanted you to enjoy that story because there's a beauty in innocence.
Yeah.
And there's an innocence that I try to bring to every single thing I do, career-wise, and every single character I get to play. Because if it's not there, it's not genuine.
Right.
And I have to constantly think, how would my 5-year-old react to this?
Yeah.
And no matter what the character's age is, it has to be a first experience for them. How would they react? Because that's what you're getting at home.
Since we've spent a while now talking about your very impressive resume, I mean, Grease, Hair, Joseph.
Thank you. I wish I saw it that way. It was just a lot of fun.
Yeah,
you know, it's
course.
like it's weird when you think of a resume. It's you think it's prestigious, but it's just been a jam.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been a blast. And I've met so many Army friends from my personal Army, like for the rest of my life,
Right.
that I get to celebrate their achievements all over the world in everything across the board, from TV to film to production to lighting to camera to you name it. All over the world, I have friends because of what I've been able to jam out on.
Yeah.
But yes, my very prestigious resume.
Yes.
Go ahead. I wish I had a tie.
Now, speaking of your resume, you've done all of these amazing roles. Is there a dream role of sorts that you have yet to play?
Yes.
And what is that?
Well, let me tell you. When I was a little child,
Okay.
about a year ago,
Right.
joking. Now I'm in my 40s. And my wife is still 21, right?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I loved the circus. And there was something about someone being able to use their full physical talent with their entire body that just intoxicated me. I was an athlete through and through. I was a scrappy fifth son, the runt of the litter at 6'1", literally getting beat up by 6'7" men my whole life. That's what my 4 brothers were. Yeah. And so I was the scrappy little guy. And I remember there was a day that I got to go to the circus with my brother, and I was blown away. The tightrope, the people on the elephants doing like layouts on top of an elephant. I need to run and do a round off before I even attempt the layout. I can do it, but don't make me do it on a matinee. I can do a standing backflip, but I'll never do it on stage because I can't promise that it'll always land. But it's like there are these things that I have always been pushed physically with sports. Right. And my brothers were so athletic that I got to play sports. I had an opportunity to go to college and do American football. As a wide receiver, I was very fast. Because after I slugged them in the arm to say I love them, I had to take off before they could reach out and kick my butt. Yeah. So I was really quick, and I had really good hands. So I was good at football and baseball and track. But I was blown away when I saw the physicality of these circus performers. You see people that can go into pretzel positions. You see people that are doing ballet, and their bodies look like a racehorse, man. Like literally, they walk by and you're gawking, and you have no idea, but you're like, bro, what do you do for your legs? Like, you're just trying to get the workout just so you can maybe try to do it. And they're like, dude, I just sit on the wall and do second position and sit in this position for like 3 hours and they swell. Yeah. It's insane. But they are incredible visuals of what our body is capable of. And I feel that that's what Broadway is. I feel that's what theater is. We're not only showing what we can do with writing and music, we're literally getting people to sit down and say, hey, if you put your mind to it, you could actually move your body like this. Yeah. You could be part of the celebration. You could actually do this as well. And the first time I ever had that was when I was watching a circus show. So I literally saw the Barnum and Bailey Circus. So the show I want to do, I learned how to juggle because of that. Really? I can ride a unicycle. Ooh. I can juggle 4 things, not 3. I'm not like those others. I literally have the other one in the air going, oh crap, don't drop it. But I can do it, and I've never had the chance to do it for a living. Right. So I've always wanted to play Barnum.
That would be amazing. Mm-hmm. And you know what I would love more? Why don't you sing a little bit for us?
Can I?
I would love you to. I think they would love you too.
All right. If you like it, then comment below. And let's get some little hashtags going, and maybe we can get some fire under some investors and get this thing up and running. My wife would love to play the love interest, even though she doesn't end with him. But she would love to play the love interest of Barnum. It's a beautiful story with amazing physicality. And I would never have to go to the gym because I'd get my workout right on stage. I would love that. May I sing?
You may sing. Logan Medland on piano.
The colors of my life are bountiful and bold. The purple glow of indigo, the gleam of green and gold, the splendor of a sunrise, the dazzle of a flame, the glory of a rainbow,
sunshine.